BlackRock has officially sounded the alarm on the US dollar, but also on the global financial system. Things are about to get very serious very fast, and I do think that you should all wake up and pay attention. In this video, I am going to be uncovering everything around this, but also exposing BlackRock in a very big way. So welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So let's dive on in real quick with this article here. $10 trillion asset manager BlackRock issues US dollar warning. Now, the first thing that we are met with in this article is as BRICS de-dollarization mission continues in 2024, investment management company BlackRock has issued a major warning about the US dollar. The company is warning investors with cash in reserves to start moving some of it into bonds. Now, this is because US dollar dominance has been falling around the world. I mean, it's no surprise when we see all these nations moving against the US dollar. They're, trading in their national currencies. They're launching new currencies. They're moving away from the SWIFT network. So as we do really kind of think about this, yes, the dollar is being challenged. Yes, the dollar is losing dominance. And if we think about this on a global scale, you might say, all right, well, it's not that big of a deal because the dollar is still very strong in terms of its trading dominance. But guess what? Slowly but surely, we will get to the point where the dollar has collapsed in terms of a reserve currency, and a new reserve currency or a completely new financial system will rise from those ashes. Now, I've outlined this on multiple occasions. But as we do really kind of think about the US dollar, as we think about what's happening right now around the US dollar, yeah, things are getting very interesting because even over the summer, if you guys do remember, we were hearing talks about the petrodollar. And if we look more recently, we have BRICS is considering a petro yuan in the next de-dollarization attempt. Now you might say, all right, well, this is not going to happen. Nothing's going to come from this. But over here we have, and this is just recently, September 9th, Saudi Arabia open to petro yuan, closer China ties, minister says. We have Saudi Arabia's Minister of Industry says country willing to try new things in relationship with China. Chinese companies welcome. Now, if we go back in time to June 12th, if you guys do remember this, Saudi Arabia's 50-year-old petrodollar agreement with the United States has expired, with no new agreement in place. And there has been zero news around this at all. So now they can sell oil in multiple currencies instead of just exclusively in US dollars. Now we can see why Saudi Arabia is open up, to these new relationships with China. We also know that Saudi Arabia has been in heavy discussions with a lot of BRICS nations leaders, including, of course, Putin. So as we do think about this, I do believe that this would be a death strike to the dollar because for the longest time, everyone's been saying, well, the dollar's backed by the military and the petrodollar. Well, without the petrodollar, we have to rely on the military. But also, with how the US has been spending money, the budget of defense has dropped significantly. And it hasn't really improved at all. And also, a lot of the things that we utilize within the military, let's just say, let's just go and look at aircraft carriers, right? Maintenance on aircraft carriers has been basically avoided. There's been practically zero maintenance done. Our warships are crumbling. If we think about what's happening here, we have completely avoided everything that we needed to support the US dollar as a reserve currency. So right now, these nations see that the US is weak technically, and they are going against the dollar in a very large way because they do believe that this is the best chance at success to finally decrown the dollar. Now, also, at the same exact time that this is happening, major banks are having outages. Bank of America recently just experienced a massive outage, and it showed customers blanked out account balances. Now, this just happened on the 3rd. This is very important to focus on. Now, on top of this, banking stocks are down significantly in the last year. This is Summit State Bank. It was down 8% in one single day, and it reached a new low down 55% year over year. Now, this is because of wineries defaulting on loans. A lot of small businesses and businesses in general are going to soon hit a brick wall. And what's crazy about this is banks. Because if you actually look at banking stocks, year-to-date performance, this is major banks, this is regional banks, and this is savings banks. Guys, look at the year-to-date performance. Down 64%, 34%, 27%, 25%, 25%, 18%, 15%, 13%, 12%. You know, the list just goes on here. And when you look at regional banks, it's even worse. I mean, it's 20% plus across the board, essentially. And then if we look at major banks, guys, these are essentially the blue chips of finance. And they are down double digits year to date. I didn't even look at, the last month, the 3 months, the 6 months. Some of them are green, sure. But look at the 5-year. It is shocking to me. It is absolutely shocking to me that the banking sector is in this much red. And when you really look at regional banks, that's where the pain is at like a max. So as we think about this, banks are having a rough time. And I want to play this video clip because this is Whitney Webb. And this was from Impact Theory. It was an interview with Whitney Webb. It's a great video. I think that everyone should check it out. This is about a roughly 3.5-minute long video clip. Guys, listen to this entire video clip. It exposes everything about BlackRock and how all of this technically is aligned perfectly for BlackRock to take control of the US and the global financial economy. Check this out.
When a crisis is happening, people tend to have emotional responses and tend to be coming from a place of fear. And that tends to prevent people from thinking critically or calmly or rationally about situations or about policies. And so a lot of, during COVID, obviously a lot of focus was on COVID-19 itself, on the biosecurity situation, not just so much on the financial situation. But for example, if there was a major crisis going forward that would greatly impact Americans' ability to engage in economic activity or have their purchasing power, close to wiped out or something, I think you would see a lot of people really beg for any policy response. Solve this crisis now, we need something, and not really have people think about what is the best policy response to this kind of crisis. People aren't going to think calmly and bring everything to the table. And it's very unlikely there will be some sort of calm, open public debate about it. Generally, what happens is that the government says people are scared and emotional. They clamor for some sort of solution from the government, and the government offers some sort of solution. And, like with COVID-19, BlackRock anticipated the next downturn about a month before the repo market started going haywire and presented to central bankers, this is the policy you should implement during the next downturn. And it's very possible that BlackRock is working on policy papers, for central bankers or other people in the U.S. government about what policy should be implemented if, this type of crisis happens or that type of crisis happens. It seems like they seem to be designing the policies, I guess. And they've, had, in the Biden administration over the past 4 years, they've been leading his former BlackRock executives have been leading his economic team, bringing us to where we are now, and likely influencing what will happen over the next couple of years whenever or up until this crisis emerges. So it seems, very likely that they'll be, dominating, fiscal response again. And then people, because they're not really aware of how this is developed or really, there's just not a lot of media coverage about, for example, the role of BlackRock in the Biden administration or in, on Kamala's economic team specifically. I've seen very little coverage, if any, of that. Recently, maybe a few blips here and there of when those people are appointed, but nothing significant beyond that. And then, of course, there was very little scrutiny of U.S. COVID fiscal response, I think, as well. And it's just sort of written off as this is what the government had to do to respond to the crisis in a lot of situations. But I don't think that's necessarily true because, again, that fiscal response began well before, COVID was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization, preceding that by like several months, right? So I don't know. I think it's a complicated situation. It's complicated to anticipate what will exactly happen. But again, history tends to repeat itself in these cases. And the fact that you have BlackRock so embedded with the Democrats specifically, and also have this historical precedent with Trump when he was in office last time, it seems very likely that they'll be doing this again. So I guess my role in this is to try and generate awareness so we can have a discussion before that time of crisis when people are emotional and afraid and concerned about their money, about whether we should be having BlackRock at the helm of this when the next crisis emerges.
And what is very sad about this is it seems as though BlackRock already is at the helm of this again. And it's comical, but this is exactly what they want. You got to remember that BlackRock never loses. They never lose. They're always at the forefront of all of this, and they're always going to get richer. That's why we just had Larry Fink on mainstream media pushing, now is the best time to buy Bitcoin, especially when you're scared, or they always have to allude to it, right? Sell you on the fact that, like, oh, you should get into our Bitcoin ETF. Bitcoin's going to be this, Bitcoin's going to that. It's just to get wealthier, right? When you go back to COVID, go back to 2020, how did Bitcoin perform when everything else crashed? It did the same exact thing. The correlation is very significant to stocks. They want to pile you into their ETF so that they can get wealthier, and you could basically lose everything when everything crashes. Now, do I think that, yeah, sure, you should be buying up some gold, silver, you should buy up, some digital assets, you should invest into different, asset classes, 100%. But I don't listen to BlackRock at all. I don't listen to BlackRock at all because they are persuading the general public to do the wrong things at the perfect time. But also, guys, when we really think about what's happening right now around our global economy, debt just hit $35.7 trillion. It is up $345 billion from September 27th. This is the problem right now. We are witnessing a debt crisis that is going to implode, cause the next crisis, and guess who's going to be at the forefront of it? BlackRock. Larry Fink's going to be there, enriching himself and BlackRock. This is a repeat, and it's a cycle. It's a constant cycle. But so many people are oblivious to what's happening. Most people don't even know who BlackRock really is. They don't even know about BlackRock. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.